Hello and welcome to the Western Home Stadium, home of Peterborough United Football Club, and today's pre-match show in association with Mick George. So what have we got on today's show? Well, earlier this week manager Darren Ferguson spoke to the press ahead of today's game with Blackpool, speaking about today's opposition and what problems they could pose. We also speak live to the manager, who delivers his team lineup first and exclusive for the pre-match show. We also catch up with striker Jonson Clarke-Harris. Jonson, of course, is a former Peterborough United player and joined us in the summer as a replacement for Ivan Toney. He speaks about the goals that he scored this season and what he's hoping to achieve between now and the end of the campaign. We also catch up with Posh fan Mowles. Mowles was heavily involved in the Chris Turner Statue Fund and is integral to the Tommy Robson TR11. Of course, Tommy Robson sadly passed away last month, and there are plans for a statue here outside the stadium. We also have some classic matches from games against Blackpool from the past, and all the details of iFollow and how you can watch today's game for £10 with match passes available on the club website. Let's get cracking. Well, Gaffer, home game. It's been a while since we've had a home game. Actually, about 3 in a week.
Yes, good to be back home. Had a lot of travelling to do. You know, the 12 league games we've only had 5 at home. So obviously, Saturday and Tuesday now, that makes it 7 of each, and we hope that we continue this home run because we're on a fantastic form at home. We're strong, and we want to continue that.
Yeah, Blackpool, one of the teams at the start of the season, a lot of people tipped to be challenging. It takes a while, obviously, with the amount of players they've brought in to sort of gel them together.
Yeah, I think I've said that earlier in the week. You know, they brought in a new manager, they brought in a lot of players. And sometimes that can take a little bit longer than what you'd hope for, but they've won their last 3 games. They're a very strong team for me. They've got real key areas where they're strong, and that's something that we've spoke about. But we're at home. We have to make sure that we get a reaction to last week's performance. Result-wise, you're going to lose games, but it was the performance. But I have to keep saying that we can't forget the form before that game, and we've had a really good week of training, and it was important that we didn't, I felt, have a game on the Tuesday. I wanted a week in the grass with them, and the players are looking forward to the game. Yeah, and in terms of Blackpool, just finally, obviously they've got experience at front, they've got attacking options in wide areas, and I think you said earlier in the week they've actually changed their system and found a winning formula as well. Yes, they have. That doesn't mean they're going to do it. Their manager was at our game last week, so he may come away from that and think, well, whatever. But it's about us, and you know, if they play the way they have been, we'll go through it with the players. Yeah, they've got Medina up front, who's a threat. Yates, who did very well on loan at Swindon, he's a threat. 2 wide players who are very good wide players, Hamilton and Kai, and it almost is a front 4 at times. So, listen, every team you play against, and there's no more evidence than last week, if we're not at it, and to the levels that I would expect in terms of the running stats, the basics of the game, we need to make sure that's taken care of. That's the most important thing for me. If the basics and the fundamentals of a game of football do not change, if you don't get it right, doesn't matter who you've got in your team, what team you are, you stand a far bigger chance of losing. So we get that correct, which we have 90% of the season, then it gives us a better chance of winning the game. We have to have a good shape, we have to be solid without the ball, and we know we've got players that can open teams up. So I think that's the real message I've been given to the players, and the players fully understand that. He didn't get on last night, but great for Jack Taylor to be involved in the full Irish squad for the first time. Fantastic for the boy and his family. Fully deserved. He's had a very good season, following on from a very good time he's had with us full stop since he joined. He's developing all the time, he's added goals to his game, and he's a very good player, and I had no surprise, and I was delighted for him. Obviously he didn't get on, but the fact he was involved in the squad. So, and also on a purely selfish note, it means that he got a bit more rest, and he was back this morning or this lunchtime. We'll do the test, we'll get the results tonight, and fingers crossed, touch wood, he's fine and he'll be available for Saturday. Yeah, and as I say, he's such an important player in terms of how you play, but also how in the form he's in, and you obviously want him back in the group as soon as you can. Yeah, listen, he's a big player for us, and he gets that, you know, sort of comment because of his form, and we knew what we were getting, but he has improved. But it can be difficult for players when, you know, they come into the team and they haven't been playing for a while, and I've seen evidence of that last week. You know, as a player, I've been there myself, where you think, oh, am I only going to come in for 1 or 2 games? You need a run, but it's difficult if you keep winning games and people are in form. And it's up to the ones that are not in the team or squad to show the form in training and in games to stay in there. And that's really the secret to it. And there can be no excuses on that front.
Fraser Blacktrace had a bit of a stop-start season this year, because obviously he got injured just before the first game of the season, and then has obviously found limited opportunity because of form of others. He obviously gives you a balance if you choose to play in a certain way. Is that a plus point that he can bring to the party?
Certainly it gives you the balance with his left foot and being a left-sided player. So the 3 positions are, he's obviously in a back 4 or left back. He can play left centre half in a 3, and he can play left wing back. So he definitely gives you that balance. That was one of the reasons why I brought him on at half time. It wasn't necessarily because Niall made a mistake, because if it was a case of people making mistakes, you would have taken most of them off. It was a key mistake in the game because it led to a goal, but I needed balance because I wanted to change shape. I wanted to try and deal with their wider areas better, which we weren't doing. So that was why Fraser came on, and he did fine in the game. We were far better in the second half. We still weren't anywhere near the level I know we can get to, but we were a better performance in the second half.
Well, pleased to be joined by manager Darren Ferguson. Darren, your starting lineup for today's game.
One change from last week. Jack's back. He's negative with his test. He's come back, as you would imagine, full of confidence. Been picked in the full squad. The Savage Silver Island. So yeah, I make one change. We know about last week and the things we didn't do well. But I have to also look at what we did before that for a long period. I'm fully expecting a better performance and obviously a better result.
I presume that's in for Lewis Reed. Is that the simple?
Yeah, Reedy's the one that's come out. I think I said earlier in the week, unfortunate for Reedy, but I've got 4 very good central midfield players, but the form Jack was in, the fact that he'll have so much confidence from being selected for the full squad means that he comes back in and hopefully he continues the form before he left.
Yeah, you said you had a good week on the training ground this week without a midweek game for a change, and it gives you the opportunity to get some work in. Yeah,
it gives an opportunity to get a bit of work into them, because obviously now it's a real hectic period, all the way almost up till Christmas and after into the new year. So, but we knew that, but we got a little bit of work into them. You know, we wanted a good week of training. I just gave them little reminders of why we'd got to the top of the league. And sometimes I feel that's better than focusing on the negative of the performance last week. Obviously, we took things out of that as well that we didn't do well enough, but I think it was clear for the players to see where they went wrong, and credit to the opposition. But we can't keep going on about it. It's one blip in 10 games. We just need to go back on another run, and we know the reason why we went on the run. We were very solid, we played as a team, and we've got some very good players. So we just have to get back to that. Easier said than done, of course.
Yeah, and then you look at the league and you look at the teams facing today and obviously on Tuesday, and they got threats all over. Just like when we spoke about it previously, you can't look at any team in League One and think they're not going to be a threat. No,
first and foremost we go and try and do our own business, and then you hope that on the day you're better than the opposition, and that's how I look at every game. That's how we go into every game. We feel we've got a good team and a good squad, and we've proved that so far by being at the top of the league, and we hope that we can continue doing that. But it's not as easy as just turning up in the day and winning a game of football. There's always periods in games where you'll come under pressure. There's always an opposition that have got good strengths. We have to try and exploit the weaknesses that we may think they've got. But generally on the day, it's a team that make the fewest mistakes, that do the basics better than the opposition, that'll win in this league.
Ronnie Edwards played 90 last night for the youth team, obviously progressed into the third round, and he got Doncaster.
Yeah, I watched the game. Second half they did very well. They had to be patient, but they moved the ball quickly and could have got the winning goal before they did, and then they had to survive a little scare at the end. But you know, these games, I think the 2 games they've had have been very difficult and different games to what they're going to face against Doncaster, which actually, funnily enough, might make it easier for them. But no, the youth team have done well, because both banana skins, and they've come through them fine. Some good performances, you know, and you look at the players that they could have possibly had in the team. Flynn, Ricky, obviously missing. You would think that if they're not involved in the first team, they'll probably play in the third round if Ricky's fit. Obviously Flynn will be. So no, I'm pleased that they've got to the third round in a home game. It's good that they've got a home tie against Doncaster, so an opportunity I feel to go further in the tournament.
Yeah, you mentioned Flynn there. He had a scan with his hamstring. Is it still as what we suspected?
No, it's far better news than we thought. It's only a grade 1. They grade them like 1, 2, 3, whatever. Obviously 1's the best result we could have had. So we feel that he'll be fit for the Chorley game. So it's very good news.
And just finally, happy birthday to Frankie Kent and Mark Beavers today. Both celebrate their birthday on the same day.
Yes, unusual. So the centre-half partnership, let's hope they have a good birthday by keeping the clean sheet and we get a win. So happy birthday to them both.
Perfect. Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yesterday we caught up with striker Jonson Clarke-Harris. Jonson has 6 goals so far this season, and as he says in this interview, he's pretty disappointed he's not already on 7. Well, Jonson, let's talk about the Barnet. What's going on there, mate?
Jesus. Oh, well, I don't know really what to say, to be honest. I just wanted to change. I want defenders to look at me and go, oh yeah, I don't want to go up against him today. So, no, to be fair, no, I just wanted to change. I wanted to start all over again. So I just wanted something different.
And today's opponent's Blackpool. Obviously, good memories for you for last season. I think you scored a hat-trick against them.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I can remember. I don't even know. It weren't last year. It was the
year before.
Season before. Yeah, I can remember that game. My first hat-trick. So it'd be nice to get on a score sheet again and get 3 points.
Yeah. How have you found settling in? Obviously, you must be happy with the goal return. I imagine you wanted 7, obviously, with the penalty, but you must be happy with how things have settled.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, any player can settle when they're playing and they're happy and they're scoring. So and the boys, they're all class anyway, and they work hard and they push me on to work harder. So I'm trying every game to give as much as I can for the team.
Yeah, and in terms of the actual spirit in the camp, you've always got a smile on your face. You seem to have really settled quickly, which is important when you make a move.
Absolutely. Obviously, I've been here before, so I know the place and I know the gaffer well, Barry and the owner. So I've settled in pretty easy. But like I said, it's helped when you play in and you're scoring and you're helping the team out as well.
Yeah, was it nice to get off the mark when you did? I know you had a few chances beforehand, but when you got that first goal, it must, as a striker, it must be nice just to get that weight off your mind.
Yeah, of course. I think for the first couple of games that I was playing, I was probably trying too hard to score. Obviously, there's a lot of pressure on myself to score. I put the pressure on myself to score every game and hopefully get to the goal tally what I'm looking to get. So goals win games and winning games gets promotion. So I'm going to try to do my bit anyway.
Has that sort of been something that you've developed over time in terms of putting pressure on yourself? yourself? Was that something you did from an early age, or is it something that you kind of got used to playing league football regularly as you had?
It's something I got used to. Obviously, last year I had a good season last year and I scored 17 goals. So obviously, I'm looking to get more goals this season. But last year I had a bit of time out with a couple of injuries. So this year I'm just going to try and stay as fit as I can, strong as I can, and just hit the back of the net as much as I can.
It's strange when you look back at your career, because you made such an impact at such a young age, people forget how old or young you are. It depends
how
on
young I am.
Yeah, how young you are. Let's go with that one, because
Yeah.
you obviously came through so young. Does it feel like you've been in the game as long as you have?
No, it don't. I can still remember coming out here on the same training pitch when I was 17, 18. Time goes quick, so need to get these promotions in quickly.
Yeah, and as I say, when you made your sort of breakthrough at such a young age, you were all about explosive power, had a wonderful left foot. You sort of modelled your game a little bit as time's gone by, and I suppose that's part of being a professional.
Absolutely. With the injury as well, I've had to adapt my game, and to be fair, it's a blessing in disguise, because now I feel like I'm a real handful League One striker.
That was part one of our interview with Jonson Clarke-Harris. Part two is coming up a little bit later on in the show. Now, the classic match today obviously features our opponents Blackpool, and is a 3-2 success over the Seasiders here at the Western Home Stadium back in 2001. On that day, Tom Williams scored his first Posh goal and Leon McKenzie bagged a brace. That's coming up a little bit later on. Now remember, you can watch today's game against Blackpool on iFollow. Match passes are available for £10. If you go to the club website, follow the links on there, and you can watch all of the action live from here, of course, with the BBC Radio Cambridgeshire commentary, which today is provided by Edwin Overland and Ben Stevenson. Now, AD Mowles came down to the stadium this week. Of course, he probably wanted to stay and watch today's game. We've made sure he's not locked in the toilets or anything along those lines, but he was here for a purpose, and he was here to talk about the Tommy Robson Statue Fund and the TR11 and how you can get involved. Of course, Tommy Robson sadly passed away last month, a Posh legend, not just on the pitch but off it as well, and there was a lot of love for the former Posh man. AD Mowles talks now about how you can get involved and how he's got involved in creating the statue. Well, AD, talk to us about the Tommy Robson Statue Fund and how it's come to be so far.
Yeah, it's started off pretty well. We knew with the circumstances around everything it was going to be a bit quieter to start. We weren't able to have any public sort of announcements or any functions or anything like that, so it has been a bit of a struggle compared to what Chris's was, but we're getting there bit by bit. And then now we've started off with the TR11 club, that's jumped up, and obviously the club are doing stuff as well.
Has the experience of doing the Chris Turner statue stood in good stead in terms of the complications that can arise during a procedure like this?
Yeah, I think we pretty much didn't know what we were doing last time. We really just jumped in the deep end very, very quickly, and we had to learn as we went along, and now we've sort of made plans going forward what we'll need to do. So obviously we've got the same sculptor, so we don't need to get too involved about trying to find the right person. A lot of the planning permissions and stuff like that we know we've got contacts for, and the actual fundraising again is going to be slightly different to as it was. Obviously a lot of companies are not going to be as involved as they were with Chris because of the circumstances, but yeah, that's definitely got us in good stead.
And Princeville, one of the first companies to actually come forward very early actually in the process to make a donation, and that says a lot about them as a company that want to support events and fundraising like this.
Yeah, Princeville are great, and we know that Mick George have already expressed interest, and Princeville have been superb sponsors with the club, as have Mick George. Plenty of other ones locally have expressed an interest, but obviously they've got to see what's going to happen, and it's probably not going to be till hopefully New Year before we really know where we're going with that, which is why we've started the TR11 club for individuals, but we haven't done anything for big companies as yet.
Yeah, the TR11 club, something that obviously you didn't do it for the Chris Turner Statue Fund, but this is a good opportunity for anyone to get involved and do it on a monthly basis and feel like they're really contributing over a longer period of time.
Yeah, we did do one for Chris. It was the CT5, obviously, with his number 5 TR11. We haven't got any imagination. We've just really copied the same thing, but it was a winning formula. So yeah, we've made it £11 a month purely for the number 11, and it's gone very well so far. We've got, I think we're around about the 50 mark at the moment. We're hoping for a bit more, but again, it's just before Christmas. With the circumstances again, I'm going to mention, we knew that this was going to be a slow burner. and it will be. And once we get up and running, we know that we'll be able to kill it.
And you can't do this on your own. Obviously, you've got a committee behind you in terms of putting the work in, and that's important because you can drown in these kind of things if you put all the pressure on yourself.
Yeah, I mean, it's slightly different to last time. We've basically grabbed the same people virtually, man for man, but we've made it a Pisa thing, and that's only purely because I know that who I can get hold of, when I can get hold of them. You know, we've got all our WhatsApp things and what have you, and then we've added a couple of people from outside Pisa who we used last time as well. So very much always surround yourself by people you can trust, and that's what I've done with this committee.
And in terms of Tommy as a man, obviously very much like Chris, he touched the whole community, not just those that were involved in football, because Chris was involved for so long within the city, whereas Tommy, everybody knows Tommy, don't they, in so many different walks of life.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's something we're going to jump on when again we get up and running on a full sort of speed. You know, things are a bit quiet at the moment. But yeah, I mean, you've got the council, you know, people involved, and you've got the whole of the people in the city. I've walked through town, and it's an absolute nightmare. You take about an hour and a half to walk from here to Cathedral Square because everybody stops and talks to him. And that's the sort of person he was, and he stops to talk to them, and in the end they desperately get away because he won't shut up. So that's the way he was, that's the way that he'll be remembered. Very, very popular around not just the football club, as you say, but around the city itself.
And I think the thing about Tommy was that he could light up a room, whether it be a story, whether it be just asking how you were. He was a very likeable man. I know you got to know him very well during your time as well, and I think that you know, there'll be people out there that just want to, even if it's a small donation, want to do something for him, and that's, I guess, what you're looking for, isn't it? Just small can become large quite quickly. Yeah,
absolutely. As with Chris, you know, we had people emptying their, and I'm not being romantic about this, we had people emptying their kids' money banks, you know, piggy banks, as it were. You know, whether the kids knew or not, I don't know. But you know, generally the kids would come over when we did bucket collections. It would be children that would come over. Children, if they'd been brought up properly with Posh, they knew Tommy because they'd come here for their first game maybe, and Tommy would show them round, and then they'd have to listen to some of his terrible jokes. But also the adults all loved him because of his great stories. So yeah, the money will come in dribs and drabs probably to start with, and then we'll start getting the big hitters involved. But the most important people are the fans, and it's the fans that will build the statue, same as they did with Chris's. And we were looking forward to it. We were looking forward to the battle, as it were.
And just finally, we're standing in front of one of the flags here, obviously with no fans inside the stadium at the moment. It's really obviously so different and so disappointing not to have them here. Obviously these flags are very important because it shows how much he was respected here at the football club, and this is the first stage obviously, and when you get a statue here as well, there'll be, like Chris, a living legacy.
Absolutely. The flags have depressed Pisa quite a lot because they're actually bigger than our flag, which is really, really annoying because we've never had to say, well, so I'm told, we've never had to say that before. But the flags are magnificent. Tommy Robson and everybody at the club did brilliant getting those flags up done so quickly, and they are absolutely magnificent. Quite where we're going to put them at some away games, I do not know, but we'll do our best. And yeah, it is a reflection of how popular the man was. And I say the man, not just a footballer, because most people, apart from old aged people like me, saw him play. You know, most people didn't see him play, and it was the same with Chris, but it's the effect that he's had with the football club over a 50-year period.
Hello and welcome back to the Pre-Match Show in association with Mick George. Now, speaking of Mick George, earlier this week they signed a new deal to continue their shirt sponsorship of Peterborough United. The deal runs through to 2023. That means 9 years they've been shirt sponsors of the football club, which is the longest in the football club's history. Now, of course, it's not just about Mick George on the shirt. They're involved in a whole host of things at the football club. Their sponsorship of the training ground at Neen Park. They have advertising boards around the stadium and have been involved in numerous community initiatives down the years. They put together a video to celebrate some special moments in partnership with the Posh. Welcome back to the Pre-Match Show in association with Mick George. Now, today's opponents are Blackpool, and down the years we've had some very exciting encounters with the Seasiders. Who could forget in 2018 when Mark O'Hara thundered in a strike from 25 yards? John Taylor scoring a hat-trick inside 12 minutes in a big win at the end of the season a few years back. And I remember, actually, the game in 2001. Tom Williams' first goal, I remember it well because he's pestered me ever since for the footage. Leon McKenzie scored twice. It was a 3-2 victory. We're going to enjoy it now.
Possible start at home to Blackpool. Division 2's joint top scorer Brett Ormerod showed there's more to his game than scoring goals as he set up former Manchester United trainee John O'Kane to head the Lancashire side into the lead. Things soon got worse for the home side. Veteran Paul Simpson's cross met by John Murphy's diving header and Blackpool 2 goals clear. Maybe it was a fear of flying half-time teacups, but Posh rallied towards the end of the first 45. Leon McKenzie's elbow grease paid off, and he found himself in the right place at the right time to finish off his own hard work. Jimmy Bullard's been grabbing the headlines of late, but it was another graduate of the West Ham Academy who levelled the scores. Tommy Williams collecting his first league goal. In stoppage time, the comeback was complete when Bullard crossed for Mackenzie to take his season's tally to 5. Posh flying high, they're now 4th. Peterborough 3, Blackpool 2.
Hello and welcome back to the Pre-Match Show in association with Mick George. We brought you our interview part 1 with Jonson Clarke-Harris earlier on in the show. It's time for part 2, and if you've missed both of them or missed both of them, you can watch the interview in full on our YouTube channel next week. Part 2, take it away. In terms of goals that you've scored this year, I mean, obviously you must have been really pleased with the different types of goals you've scored.
Yeah, absolutely. Penalties are penalties, so obviously you should be scoring penalties. I did miss one, but Wardy tapped it in, so that's an assist for me, right? But yeah, listen, all different types of goals. It's good because we have been having chances, but if you look at the chances that I've really had, there's not really been that many chances. Everybody else is getting the chances, and that's fine by me because they're sticking them away. But what is it, like 1 in 2 or something like that? Take that. So.
And the thing about it is as well, when the system that we play, as a number 9, yes, you're required to score goals, but it's all about bringing others into play as well, and knowing where those runs are going to come from, and also, from your point of view, expecting those runs, because otherwise it can make you look silly, can't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, it's a good thing, obviously. Big man up front, create space for the better players, Sammy, Dems, Wardy, understand these are serious players in this league, so definitely give them the chances as well, because they'll finish them.
Yeah, you must have enjoyed going back to Bristol Rovers, seeing a lot of your mates down there. I know you spoke at length after the game. It's always nice when you come away with a win, but nice to see familiar faces.
Yeah, it was. Listen, I knew going down there it was a nice feeling, but I weren't going down there to be pally with friends. Down there, 3 points on the bus, get back up the road, get back to work and focus on the next game.
Yeah. How important is a promotion on the CV for you? You spoke just then, everything is about making sure you have a successful season from a team perspective.
Yeah.
Ultimately, when you look back on your career, it's about what you've achieved, isn't it?
Absolutely, but you've got to feel sorry for the boys that were here last year. So they're working hard to get back to where they was. I'm working hard because I want to be a part of it, and there's no reason why we can't. The league right now is so open. You understand? You win 2, you go so many points clear. You lose 2, you go mid-table. So listen, we're grafting as hard as we can in every training session. And working the best as we can just to get 3 points on Saturday. Yeah.
Was it weird, obviously, last season, because I'd imagine in the back of your mind you probably had an inkling that there was interest from Peterborough, and obviously as the season finished in the manner that it did, there must have been a bit of mixed feelings in a sense of, obviously you want to be a championship player, the league got curtailed, you're coming into a squad that are probably going to be a little bit despondent about that. Was that a weird scenario for you?
No, not really. I do feel like I can play championship football. Why should I not have played it before I got injured? And the boys here, these boys can definitely easily play championship, so we've just got to go and prove it to everyone now. Obviously with lockdown and the situations that's been happening this year, it's not really been the best of years for most people, but even with no fans in at the ground, it doesn't feel real, but we've got to create our own atmosphere and just get the job done.
How have you found it this year, from a personal level, even away from football? Because 2020 is one of those years that's going to go down on record as one that everyone wants to forget.
It's been tough, but what can you do? I'm not the only one in this situation. The whole country's in this situation, so you just got to get on with it as best as you can. I can't really add nothing to that because we're all in the same situation. So hopefully we can just win today and put a smile on people's faces and liven up their weekend. Did you learn anything during lockdown? Not pick up a guitar or anything like that? No random things that you learnt? I levelled up on Call of Duty. I levelled up. and actually thinking about it, you were as excited as everyone when that PlayStation 5 came out this week. Absolutely. Listen, I've always been a gamer. And with lockdown as well, it's one of the best things to do, and it relaxes me out. I can spend numerous amount of hours on my console and just be completely focused, and it's the best thing for me. Mentally, it's the best thing for me. What was the first game you played then? Can you Call of Duty. It was Call of Duty. That was what you got into it. First thing, Call of Duty. That's my type of game. Play with a skip as well. So, and a couple of other boys. So we've got a group that play together. So are you someone that hides out around the back? And no. I'm guns blazing straight out. I'm not. I'm that big guy up front.
Welcome back to the final part of the pre-match show in association with Mick George. So today's show has included our interview with manager Darren Ferguson. We spoke to Jonson Clarke-Harris, we spoke to AD Mowles, we've given you classic matches. Now it's time for you to do your bit and buy a match pass for today's game. Match passes are available via theposh.com, priced at £10, so get across to the official website now and make sure you don't miss any of the action. The team news will be available across our social media using the hashtag today PETBLA. So get involved and do let us know what you think of the show. Thanks for watching. We'll be back on Tuesday.